Thank you all for coming. My name is Nikato Muirhead. I'm an organizational leadership major here at Rogers State University. The topic of my capstone presentation today is the importance of having plans in place to treat stakeholder backlash. Now, you may be interested to know, and you may be wondering, what is stakeholder backlash? Well, stakeholder backlash is whenever our stakeholders are angry for any reason. Now, there are a few different approaches to handling the anger of our stakeholders. Traditionally, what has been done is that we have sought to prevent situations from happening that might cause our stakeholders to become angry. This is basically the entire field of risk management. The purpose of my paper today is to see if there was another way to handle these situations. It occurred to me that it wasn't always possible to prevent everything that could possibly cause our stakeholders to be angry. Now, what my research shows is, in fact, that prevention is ideal. And also, my research does verify that it is not always possible to prevent backlash situations from taking place. The good thing also that my research shows is that advanced treatment plans can lead to faster response times, thereby minimizing stakeholder backlash. The most important benefit of advanced planning is, in fact, faster response to crisis, minimization of stakeholder backlash, and also preservation of the reputation of the organization. Now, throughout this paper, I will be referring to Shell Oil and also to Foxconn. Many years ago, we had a situation where the Deepwater Horizon oil rig exploded, spilling millions of gallons of oil into the water, affecting fish, wildlife. Also, a few years later, we had a situation with Foxconn. Now, if you have ever used an Apple device, an iPhone, an iPad, a Macintosh, you are indirectly a stakeholder of Foxconn. Well, what happened with Foxconn was, because of worker conditions, there were some worker suicides. This was a situation that wasn't well handled, that caused a significant amount of stakeholder backlash towards Foxconn. So, my research, just to give you an idea of the sources and the verbiage that we'll be using, there is a term that we'll be using throughout this presentation called a unified plan. This is the work of Dr. Sapriel. Now, what my research looks for is additional perspectives, additional research that will enrich the framework put together by Dr. Sapriel. Now, in terms of Shell Oil, it is very good that we have information from Dr. Singer. She was part of the team at Shell Oil that actually helped to deal with the Deepwater Horizon situation. Her perspective is, in fact, firsthand. Now, with this information that we have, and with the research that I have done, I have added to Dr. Sapriel's framework and put together some ideas, some guidelines that will help you as an organizational leader to develop an advanced plan for any major event that might occur. Now again, the entire premise of this research is that leaders want to plan in advance for as many possible backlash situations as possible. If you own a restaurant, you want to make sure to plan for food poisoning. You want to make sure to plan if there's an explosion. Make sure to plan if workers go on strike. What my research has shown is that a good plan must be unified, customized, ethical, modern, measurable, and genuine. Now, I'm going to keep this presentation on the screen at this point. What I'd like for you to do as the viewer is to really dwell on these points and ask yourself the question, is your plan unified? Is your plan customized? Is your plan ethical? Is your plan modern? Is your plan measurable? And most important, is your plan genuine? Now, when I talk about a unified approach, what I am suggesting is that for every single situation for which you are going to make an advanced plan, you must account for legal issues, media issues, the problem itself, compensation for any stakeholders who may feel that they have been victimized, and also, as a leader, you must offer an apology, and also to launch an investigation. Now, these ideas are not solely my own. These ideas are actually ideas that have been used in crisis management for quite a long time. What I've done with this paper is I've put together these ideas, combined them with the existing work of Dr. Saprio. And so, with that being said, let's continue. Now, I have discussed what a unified plan is. Take care of the media, take care of the problem itself, take care of compensation, take care of an apology, and also launch an investigation. Now, the next step in this is to make sure the plan is customized. By customized, what I mean is that as leaders, we must understand that every situation that could possibly cause stakeholder backlash is different. We must make sure to apply the unified, proactive approach to every single problem that we can anticipate. Okay? Now, we must also make sure that our plans are ethical. We cannot do anything that would endanger our stakeholders, make the situation worse, cause our stakeholders any additional harm. It's very important that we consider the ethical implications and also the ethical processes used in terms of producing a plan. The next step in this is to ask ourselves, is our plan modern? Years ago, we had different processes for handling stakeholder concerns. But now, as we are going further into the internet age, and as we get further into actually being able to interact with our customers and our stakeholders, we have to make sure that the processes that we use are modern. We can reach our stakeholders much better now using modern technologies. In fact, some of my research that I have highlighted from Dr. Vilma Luoma Aho has suggested that we can reach out to stakeholders, that we can measure stakeholder response, and using that information, we can in fact determine how well our plan is working. Now, as we jump from modern to the next step of measurability, this becomes extremely important. We have to ask ourselves, is our plan measurable? Are we reaching out to our stakeholders? Are we using Facebook? Are we using the internet? Are we using text messaging? Are we using the various methods that we can determine can actually reach our stakeholders? And finally, is our plan genuine? Now this brings us to the situation of Foxconn that I had discussed with you earlier. We had worker suicides because of working conditions, long hours, low pay, very hard labor, and certain workers were not happy. In fact, they were so unhappy that they took their lives. Now, this is a situation where the management of Foxconn ended up admitting that there were problems, but only after they had initially hidden the problems and actually gone as far as to blame the stakeholders for the problems. In any case, the Foxconn situation was not well handled. Now we can contrast that to the Shell Oil situation. Yes, Shell had a huge oil spill, but fortunately for Shell, they were already in the process of launching stakeholder engagement processes for other reasons that were plaguing the industry at the time. So when the oil spilled, what Shell was able to do was actually able to go out, speak with the stakeholders, find out how they felt, compensate those who needed to be compensated, and also to come up with a plan to measure their responses. Okay, so Shell basically did everything that we have suggested here makes a good plan. It was a customized plan. It was ethical because it treated stakeholders well. It was modern because of how it reached out to stakeholders. It was measurable because they used technology to reach the stakeholders. They used surveys. And also, the CEO of the company came out and gave an apology. This was genuine. Now, going back to the situation with Foxconn, their CEO did give an apology, but it was seen by many to not be very genuine. And for that reason, the Foxconn situation has never really been resolved. People are still talking about the severity of that situation. Foxconn's reputation has been affected. Yes, Apple came forward to give a friendly face to the Foxconn situation and sort of smooth things over, but Foxconn stands as an illustration of a stakeholder backlash situation that's absolutely not well handled. So with these two examples, and by the way, in my research documents, there are other samples of situations that have happened. There are sample plans that we use. Now, as it appears, I have some technical difficulty with my computer, which I suppose is a normal part of giving presentations. In any case, this brings us to a summary of this capstone presentation. And again, this one screen says it all. We should make plans in advance, and we should ask ourselves these questions. Is it unified, customized, ethical, modern, measurable, and genuine? With all of these perspectives, we will have the best plan possible. Now, I do want to give thanks to all the professors in the organizational leadership major here at Rogers State University. It has been a challenging curriculum, and I certainly do appreciate the challenge. I do want to thank everyone for coming, and if you have any other questions, you may contact me. Again, my name is Nikato Muirhead, and I'm proud to have been an organizational leadership major at Rogers State University.